by a little bit better with the mascot. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's June 16, 2021 revised order extending remote participation by all members in any meeting of the public body. This meeting of the Housatonic Improvement Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with the right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manners, and those instructions are posted on top of the agenda. No, I will skip that part because we are in person. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. And so, we'll call to order, roll call vote. Eric.
Aye.
Angela.
Aye.
Patrick.
Aye.
Aye. We are called to order at 6:30, according to that. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video or recording or audio recording of the open session of the meeting of the public body, or may transmit the public meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of such recordings. Any member of the public wishing at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listing of the agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This meeting is being recorded via Zoom. And just for a couple housekeeping things, those of us in the room, there are about 7 of us, all have our masks on. We are required by the town. And this is probably going to be the last in-person meeting. Is that what I understand?
I'm thinking that it's probably going to be the last.
Okay.
That hasn't been decided yet.
Okay, we'll let the public know as soon as possible whether these will be going back to fully remote participation. Before we do the approval of meeting minutes. I know Angela got them out late. Is everybody comfortable with voting on them tonight? If so, I'll entertain a motion to accept them.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
A
second.
And on Beth, thank you. All those in favor, Eric?
Aye.
Angela?
Aye with a date change.
Aye with the date change. Okay.
Yeah.
With the one
I'll
amendment.
fix it.
Okay. Patrick? I think we all missed that. And Beth?
Aye.
All right. Those are approved unanimously with the change of date. Okay, and then the next is the housekeeping. I apologize. The way we conducted the vote for our committee members new committee members last time was apparently in violation of an open meeting law. We can't do it via ballot. My bad. I was trying to keep everybody's integrity and trying to keep it integrity intact. That didn't happen. So we were going to revote. We'll have to do it individually in an open session. So you'll have to call up your vote. We'll do it the same way. So
Chair?
ranking, just a minute, Michelle. A ranked vote. 1 being your top recommendation, 2 being your second recommendation. Now the lowest score would be, the lowest 2 scores would go on as recommendation to the select board. So we'll just go through individually and do so.
Dan?
Yes.
Can we not go into like executive session? Because I'm really uncomfortable.
No, we can't.
putting people on the spot.
Unfortunately, we can't. It's not technically a personnel matter, and it wasn't posted on the agenda. Sorry. I did my best last time to try to keep it as comfortable for everybody, but that is unfortunate. If we want to vote a different way, we can. If you don't want to do the ranking system, I'm open for that. If you just want to make your two recommendations, I'm also open to that. That makes you feel more comfortable.
So I'm gonna bypass this and make a motion that this committee appoint Louise Goldsmith and Daniel Morales as our recommended candidates for the open positions.
There you go. That's also a way to do it. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion by the committee members?
Chair, I would like to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'm a resident of Housatonic with Shelley there, 70 Division Street. And I was at a planning board meeting last week, we came into the meeting last week of NHIC late. The audio recording was poor. So I just have a question with regard to, I'd like to ask the members who are voting, not why they're voting for a certain candidate, but what their criteria was for selection.
So that's not required. You can ask the question, but they certainly
And then
don't.
I really
They
have an
certainly
issue
don't.
with that. This is this is not a good way for the new members to start off in such a
So
unopen and transparent,
it's,
especially from you, Dan.
so Michelle,
Challenge other people.
so here, it's up to each committee member whether they want to answer that, but they're not required to.
No, they're not required,
I'll
but
leave it
all
up to
the
each
time
committee.
sitting on boards of committees, I have been asked publicly why I voted the way I voted.
And you have
I'm not
to
asking for why people are voting a
Yeah.
certain way. I'm asking what the criteria would be for, I know what my criteria would be to select a member.
Okay, so you've asked the question. Right now, there's a motion on the floor.
Mhm.
It's been seconded.
Mhm.
So we're gonna go through that vote. Then any member that wishes to answer that question afterwards, thank you, sir. So Eric.
Aye.
Angela.
Aye.
Beth.
Aye.
Patrick.
Aye.
Aye as well. So I'll open it up to any wish to answer Michelle's question.
Before the vote, Michelle, I said that I was, recommending, or I had asked, Daniel and Leah House to join, and I was looking for young family, people to join. So Leah House, I always see her at the bus stop and, their young kids, and thought that would be a good member to have, because of that position she holds there, always at heart. Daniel, also family guy, carpenter, artist. I thought his input would be very useful. On board, not anything. So, and then, if it, those were my top two votes, so.
Anybody else wish to?
And just so you know, Eric, you went a little more and got to what was necessary. I appreciate your candidness. It was just one of the criteria, like a young family member. I was like to thank you for your openness and transparency.
Eileen, you had your hand up, and I'd like to kind of keep this moving. So if the question pertains to this, I'll entertain it. Otherwise, you can wait till citizens speak. So Eileen, if you wish to ask your question, you may do so.
Yes,
I'll even accept it in the chat, and I'll read it into public record. Eileen, if you prefer that way. Okay. You will be given another chance certainly at citizen speak having. If you cannot or unable to, just let me know if you're having trouble with your audio as well. All right, thank you again, for the second time for everybody that did put in a name. Again, it's wonderful to see that, 4 people are, trying for 2 slots, and it's great to see new faces as well, too. I'm sure our 2 new recommendations bring great experience, as well as the other 2 certainly have their qualifications too. And we will be I will continue with a formal recommendation to the select board at the end of this meeting. And I will include that we asked if we could include the 2 alternate members, which would be Denise Ford and Leah House, unless there's an objection from anybody on the committee that was discussed last time. Okay. And again, I apologize for missing that last time for everybody. It got by me. I should have known better, but anyway, who's the town of school discussion? Angela, you wanna?
Sure. So I sent a draft statement to everyone, and, you know, I'm open to, we should talk about it, because if there are additions or subtractions or deletions or things we need to include, this would be the time to do it. I did invite Carrie Martini to this meeting, but she was out of town starting today until the 23rd. But perhaps she can come to our next meeting. I don't know when we're in, but would it be helpful to just sort of go person by person, Eric, and then Patrick, and Dan, and Beth?
We certainly could.
Or how do you want to do it?
Do you want to? I'm wondering if you would have to sign into the Zoom meeting, and then Eric can make you co-host and you could share.
So I don't know if I want this White House.
I'd like to share.
Okay.
And if you could just speak up too a little bit, that would be. Thank you, Eileen. We'll do the best we can to amplify our voices. We've moved the owl a lot closer, but again, this week we're wearing our masks as required by the town, so it's going to feel a little muffled.
I have a computer, so forgive me.
That's all right.
Eric, are you online with this? And can you?
Oh yeah, that's
Can you screen share it? Probably.
that's all right. We've got the room to midnight. So.
I nominate Patrick to share his screen. Since he's
There you
professional
go.
at it.
There we go.
Okay, I can do that.
Knew somebody would come. Yeah, see. I make them up.
I have to find the document. I have a version that I've been editing, and I apologize. I didn't get through it in time for this meeting, but let me open the unedited version. Oh, I think, Eric, you need to allow me to share. It's disabled right now.
Can you co-host right now? You should be able to now. There we go.
Okay. All right, you can all see that. Good.
Oh, just if anybody in the audience could tell me if they can see that at home, that would be wonderful. I see Daniel shaking his head, so I would assume that everybody else can too. You're the only one that's on our screen right now, Daniel, other than Patrick. But if again, we can make this document available to publicly. All right. Do you want to go through and read it, Angela, or do we want to just kind of look through it all at one time and kind of make deletions or corrections?
Yeah, I don't think I need to read it.
Okay.
Everybody's read it. So Patrick, you have a a file that you've edited? Do you want to just put that up there for us to see?
Oh, sure, yeah, it's, let's see here. Stop that, share, start another share, stand by, here we go. Basically, I reorganized it, I started to reorganize it a little bit, just to, I actually have a charrette that I was working on at work, so I was able to sort of take that as an outline. And then I grabbed some information. This is just basic information about Setonic from Wikipedia, so I would be looking for others to maybe comment on that as well as whether it's relevant, everyone included or not. But that's kind of what I've done. I've broken it into sections, Angela, and just kind of given an overview, sort of an executive summary of what we're doing. And then 2 sections about the village and about the school, which I was not able to find yet any sort of a paragraph on. The school was built in X year and operated for X number of years. Possibly somebody knows that information. And then I was thinking, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but some of the paragraphs here might fit under some of these headings kind of in a different order. So I was going to tackle that next and just move some things around so that there's background information. In the middle, there's kind of clear direction in the executive summary or the overview section, and then there's kind of more specifics in the later part of the document, if that makes sense. And then, of course, I was going to send it to all of you for, or to you, Angela, to see how you thought of my edits. But here we are.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So Eric, did you have any input on the document?
Yeah, I do like the way Patrick added all the information and the median income, all that information I see is very valuable. And then where you had written about it complementing the future redeveloped Ramsdale Library, how you would like it, or how we would like it to complement the Ramsdale Library, I was thinking of adding something along the lines of, having it be complement the library while offering additional space for continuing education or after-school programs. Kind of tied in. I know we've said it multiple times. Even like the commercial kitchen, tie that all in with continuing ed after-school programs. And then just where it said the library office space, I was just gonna add, to break that down and let them know exactly what that is. It's a mixed use as well with living space, a bit of a music studio and artisan space in there, in one building.
Oh, you mean the businesses that are already at this time?
I just mean, the Barberry office space, you have there's a line there, that building is now kind of got 3 different functions,
Okay.
to the best of my knowledge, so.
Did I spell it correctly? Or-
No, I'm not the speller correct,
Barbieri, Barbieri.
Ah. So Eric, can you send that,
Yeah, I was kind of just writing it out by hand, so I'll scan it and get it over to you.
or give it to me? I can take it.
I was also, Kelly's Mills, also includes some maker space. I know some cabinet makers that are in there and things like that, so I think we can add that in there.
So are there shops in Kelly's Mills? Like retail?
There's no retail in there anymore.
So we can say maker space and spaces and workshops. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. Okay, great.
Angela, you get these notes from Eric, right? You don't need me to be typing.
I know I'm getting it. And I'm gonna make sure that he gives me things that I didn't get.
Okay.
those were my basic notes, from going over it.
Dan?
Yep, so again, I'm glad that Patrick added that, the demographics and that kind of stuff in there. I think that's a great preamble to this whole thing too. Just a couple small, little
Don't be
things.
shy.
When you wrote luxury housing, I don't know, market rate might be more appropriate. I don't know, I don't know, I think market rate is luxury, but, but,
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Sorry, Angela.
So, so we're telling the architect not consider market rate housing, is that what we're asking, or we're saying?
We said not all.
not all,
Not all.
Yeah.
not all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the emphasis on affordable, however we want to word that. And then maybe in that last paragraph, again, you know, it seems obvious, but maybe we want to put somewhere in the fact that the building is not currently handicap accessible or code compliant.
Okay. So we'll say it must be ADA compliant and meet all current building codes.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
And again, I'm the worst person to wordsmith, so if there's commas and periods and whatever else missing, then you're not going to get that from me, sorry.
That,
one of our meetings, Michelle said she would like to see maybe some of the offices from the Barrington in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good idea.
so, I purposely didn't say town of Great Barrington offices because I don't think we can dictate that. But we could assume that if there's office space and the town needs it, they could look at it. I don't think we should limit the architects by saying, like, figuring out who the tenants are gonna be before the building is even worked on. Does that make sense?
It does, but do we want to leave it open enough by just saying with the potential for
Public offices.
public offices?
Should say money to tax.
Michelle, it's really hard to take notes if you're talking or other people are talking. So say what you said.
So
Sorry,
would it be easy enough to say the potential for
sure.
public offices or public space maybe?
Shall we just say office space with potential for municipal offices?
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
that would.
I don't know if it falls under the same category, but I was thinking like business incubator space. That might get redundant, just in that.
yeah, because there's something, I was thinking the same thing, then I reread a paragraph and now I gotta find it again. I think, I guess that kind of says the same thing. Yeah, I think that's probably covered in the flexible space kind of quotations. Be my, you know,
So why don't I say, flexible space in correct potential uses could include, incubator, theater space, gallery space, meeting space, gathering space.
Yep.
Does that
yeah,
do it?
that covers everything. And Bev, can you just speak up, just, because you're the furthest away from the owl, and I just want to make sure that we can pick it up.
Okay. Okay. So Patrick, if you want to work on your document again and send it to me, I'll incorporate the headings and the organization. And actually, if Vinny is okay with it, Patrick and I can go back and forth and then send sort of a final product. do you have time to do that, Patrick?
Yeah, I can do that.
Patrick, for public record, do you have any, anything that you want to add or correct other than what you've already done?
No, not not yet. I've read through it a couple of times, and I don't think I have anything substantive to add or delete. I think it's really just a reorganization.
Okay. So again, if it's just between you two, it's not, it's allowable, I believe, so you should be, as long as you don't, just only send us the final draft, which we can only, again, comment.
Right.
Can't comment on. For public space, so we're in a public meeting.
Okay, there's still time if you think of something else to shoot it over to me. So I guess my question is, if you read this, you were a total stranger, you had never heard of Housatonic, does this say what we wanted to say?
I
For
think
me,
Patrick, I'm sorry.
that's all right. I was just going to say that for me, yeah, with the addition of the overview, however it turns out, I think it really does. I think it's expressing the purpose of the charrette and then giving all of the background material. I'm assuming that that this is going to be, I think we talked about last time, that this is going to be sort of the cover page or the cover letter of a larger package of material, which will include the plans, maybe other material, I'm not sure, but certainly the plans, as we understand them now, and photographs, I think we said. So with that information, I think that it's good, and people will know exactly what we're looking for.
So the last time we met, we talked a little bit about, but we didn't really get into which documents we want to share with the architects. So I thought we shared, floor plans, the ultimate parking scenario the town did a while ago. A whole like 5-page demographic explanation of Housatonic that Joe Rockwell put together. It's been a while, so I'm sort of just going by memory. What else do we want them to have?
So, in that shared file, right, most of the, everything we've looked at is in that shared file. Do we want to just give them access to that? And rather than just include, for lack of a better term, random reports that we've gone through?
So that folder contains most of what we have.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
right, so I think just, to me, if they just have that link, they can kind of pick and choose which ones they want to see as opposed to our random bits.
They won't read it all.
No, they may not read any of it, which is probably more than likely. No offense to them, I think
Yeah.
it seems with what Patrick just included there, the floor photographs in this description, I would think that they should be able to get on. Is it common during these charrettes that they end up having questions, Patrick or Angela, in your experience? Or even Louise, do you know if, in the middle of these charrettes, do architects kind of go, wait a minute, we're missing something here, or?
My experience, it depends on the format, and yes, that does happen, I guess, to give you the simple answer, but.
In my experience as well, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not like overwhelming, right? It's not like something that if they come across something, they're like, oh, we gotta put this off for another 2 weeks or something. It's usually just minor details, right? Like little clarifying questions.
I would say,
Okay. So I would feel comfortable if they just had a link to all the information they had along with this
Okay.
this revised.
Okay.
Anything else from the committee members regarding what we put up there on the screen?
Does anyone, the school is actually closing?
I sort of looked through.
2004, Steve Bannon could probably tell me, but it's 2004. Unless, Michelle, that's correct, right? Yeah. The exact date, I don't know, I would guess at the end of the school year, but before, sometime in the summer of 2004. So.
That's close.
I will, while we're on this subject, I will open it up to anybody not on the committee if you have a comment or question regarding what you can see up there or anything. I can't guarantee that we're gonna include it in there, but at least I'll give everybody the opportunity to make a comment if they so wish.
I just have a question about one of the businesses.
Yes,
I'm embarrassed because I don't know what it is, so I'm just, what is News?
Muse?
Yeah.
Muse is the
Sorry.
old, that's okay. Muse is the old, who's kind of curtain building.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's,
all right.
it's
Yeah.
he's the, wood cabinet maker, high-end cabinet maker, and, she doesn't have her studio in there anymore, right? His ex-wife?
No,
No, she's not in there, but there's a couple other,
there's a bunch of artists in
Yeah.
states.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know it's multiple.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I didn't.
that's me.
I
Yeah,
have no problem.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Seeing nothing else from anybody else or hearing anything else, we'll just get back to our agenda, which I believe is going to be all things Housatonic, but I should maybe get a laptop at some point in my life and just. Thank you. Eric. See, at least somebody else likes printing things out. I appreciate that. So our next agenda item is all things Housatonic. I guess I'll open that up again first to our committee members if there's any questions or concerns that you might have. Lingering questions, obviously, there's still a lot of things out there. Eric, did you have any updates? Wasn't there something that you were gonna let us know?
The, Housatonic Rail Trail.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be gravel per se, it's gonna be airport mix,
Okay,
going from that, Main Street south towards AmeriGas.
okay. I think you asked that question, right?
No.
No, someone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was Luis, okay.
What
Yes.
is air-
Airport mix is, it's ground up concrete and other leftover kind of things, but it's hard pass. So in other words, the more you walk on it, the harder the surface becomes, and if it gets still allows water to drain on. So,
driveways on
yeah,
it?
a lot of people will build their driveways out of it, it's a durable surface.
So was the drainage the impetus?
They figured the drainage, just general upkeep of the trail and maintain to get it to shed water correctly, so just to improve that bit of a stretch. It goes right down, not exactly to AmeriGas, but just at that, the portion of town owns. Which, what I had found out about that was that when the solar field went in, that guy donated that portion of the trail to the town. So, it's on the town. I guess if you were to cross the street on Main Street, started the rail trail there, that's actually National Grid property.
Right, up to
Up to a certain
so
point.
at a certain point, and then it becomes something else, most of the way up to what's Stockton.
I believe so.
Do you know if there's been any discussion with the town trying to purchase any more of that, or to try to obtain any more, or does National Grid just give us a right of way anyway, and it's not necessary?
I'm not too sure.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm sure National Grid doesn't really want to give up any.
I do know the marker is only it's a marker only about 200-300 yards up on the other side. In fact, I guess maybe it's a little farther, but it cuts on an angle, so like, if you're on 41, the marker on the trail for the town line is not a straight line there, you know,
Yeah.
it's more behind the Lewis and,
Yeah,
you know, this way. Walking the dog on there, like, just the back pillar there. I think,
For the town line, you mean?
I think so.
No,
Maybe
it's further up,
Marker.
it's further up, yeah, it's almost by, Cindy and Mike Soprano,
Yeah.
closer that way. I only know that because there's a trail that goes literally in my backyard,
Yeah, to it.
that's right on the town line, I know that for all too well. But yeah, thank you, Eric, for looking into that too. So that would be kind of an interesting thing if that could be tied in with other things along the way, you know, expanded. I know there's been talk a couple of years ago about full expansion, trying to get it across Van Duzenville Road again and trying to get it somewhere. But again, it's all kind of hearsay and pipe dreams at this point, but no real end point, really. No real other connector once you get to that. But it would be interesting if that could continue northerly, get developed northerly. I mean, everybody still uses the Rouge Trail as an official kind of trail up north to West Stockbridge, because it goes all the way back up to Rockdale, or, you know, that part of West Stockbridge.
Yep.
Which is,
There's no, sorry, go ahead, Angela.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, Berkshire Natural Resources Council expanding the trails and all. They're doing, any what they're called, but so you can walk from
the CHP trail.
to Vermont,
Wow,
right through Berkshire County.
wow.
And I thought
I
that
don't-
I think they have a boat launch at the Division Street Bridge, I think.
Yes, they do.
So they acquire property and it comes for a while, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I can call and ask.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask, just to see if they have any plans, and if that's even on their radar at least.
Yeah.
That forward in the direction. Again, National Grid might say, they're National Grid, they'll kind of do what they want, right? That would be interesting. Anybody else on anything?
Patrick is gonna say.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick, I'm sorry, you started to say something.
That's okay. I was just gonna ask for my information, and maybe it's of interest to others. Going south on the rail trail, there's no way to continue it because the previous rail line connected to the main line down there near the gas company. Okay, so there's no empty right of way at this point, south of that point. Okay.
But there's on what would be the eastern side of the tracks, there's that big swath of where they're talking about putting the PCB dumps, if you're familiar with that, it's across, there is some area in there, it's owned by, I think GE owns that section that's just on the other side of the tracks, and there's a lot of land back there. But then they would end at, although if you're looking at it that way, you could then skirt around Nolan property and drop down to the other solar field. Because when they did that solar field behind Rising Paper, part of the agreement was to include a nature trail from the Division Street Bridge to Rising Paper, essentially. And Steve or Ed, maybe you could just correct me if I'm wrong on that, right? That was part of that agreement. There is some sort of public access along that solar field, right, by Rising Paper.
I believe that's correct.
So, I mean, theoretically, I guess it would just be that one stretch from AmeriGas to the solar field. You'd have to cross the river. I guess that's the part where you can't. Because the dam doesn't have a bridge across, right? Does anybody know if the dam has a dam?
I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think it's walkable, yeah.
Now, this is probably a dangerous topic, but that GE property, is that going to be transferred to the town of Great Barrington as part of the Fuller agreement that was reached some time ago? That's still obviously being contested, some parts of it, but that was my understanding, was that property was going to be donated. Maybe I misunderstood.
I mean, as part of,
That is correct.
okay, thank you. As part of what though? What was that agreement though?
VE Rest of River Settlement.
Yes, all right, he said solar, now it's just, yes, restoration, okay. Ed or Steve, do you know if that's still being negotiated or what the timeline of that might be?
That's up to the courts. That agreement was signed as a legal document by all the towns, but it's being contested.
Yes. Okay, so probably not in our lifetime, okay,
That's probably a good way of looking at it, yes.
all right. Anybody else?
There was, one last thing. Is, the crosswalk sign out in front of A&P Variety Post Office is getting moved due to, it's hazardous no matter what there. But Chief Berger cannot get a fire truck through there with it in that zone.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
I believe it's gonna go over
Cross
to the
Street?
corner market, the future location for extra specialty.
Perfect, okay,
So that crosswalk.
okay, thank you.
Eric, sorry, what was that again?
The crosswalk sign, the post that was in the middle of the road,
I didn't hear that, is it perhaps,
All right, yeah.
okay,
Good to know. Yeah, it is kind of, you actually park going the right way. In Housatonic and park on A and B side, it's hard to get around somebody
yeah.
because of that sign, yeah. Interesting, that's good to know. Anything else from anybody? My only other question, again, I thought about this and I hate to keep dragging the elephant back into the room, but the, Housatonic Waterworks, and being that there's 3 select board members in town, I was wondering if any discussions again have happened between, West Stockbridge and Stockbridge, now that the 2 reports are out, because there are small sections of both those towns that are also serviced by Housatonic Waterworks.
No, we have not.
Is there plans to have any kind of discussions
We'll
with those?
talk about it Monday night, but yes, it's just premature right now.
I understand, thank you for answering, Steve, thank you. So that's all I have. I will open it up to the general public if anybody has any.
Can I make one more
Oh, yeah,
comment?
I'm
Is,
sorry.
about the waterworks, I was making up flyers, so I made a handful of flyers over there, just, never hurts to write our congressional state representatives, to be, so there's addresses over there, and I was thinking that if everybody could, voice their concerns in an email, phone call, it wouldn't hurt for us to all send them something, start prodding, the higher ups as well.
I assume that there's gonna be some sort of formal,
There will be something
From the town?
from the town,
Yeah.
but I think, customers, residents, chiming in to their elected officials at the state level will also be very useful.
I second that. I'm not kind of surprised that they haven't been around as much as they have been. Anyway,
Dan, this is.
Yes, Michelle.
As we all know, this has been going on for years. As Mayor had several years ago, I had a conversation with the city about it. So, they have been involved. I know the city has over the years. So, and I also, met with the, Great Barrington Fire District, had a meeting on Tuesday. And I attended the meeting to kind of get their perspective as much as they could. And it was suggested that maybe Housatonic ought to start thinking about having a Housatonic fire district. Having our own fire district, and the template's already in place for the Great Barrington Fire District. But it was also pointed out, looking at other water sources and everything like that, that you still have the infrastructure, that's the issue, the pipes.
yeah,
If so, you could have Poland Spring there, it still has to go through the same pipes.
Right.
So costs for economically doable, creating a fire district and Housatonic may be the way to go. And so that comes through, you know, the town, and we have a guide on that.
Right.
But it would be a parallel system for a while. So it was just interesting, something I had not thought of.
Yeah,
Because we're thinking of merging, not
Right.
creating our own.
Right.
So sometimes it's good investment to go to some of these meetings. to
Yeah.
Get that other point of view. Also, it was also pointed out, the federal government, the infrastructure grants, the money that's being poured, I work for a public school district, I've seen the money pouring in. As a fire district be eligible for some of that money, but maybe even we're in crisis in Housatonic, maybe it's doable.
Right.
But it may look good on the surface, but it may not.
Right.
You know, greater harms.
Right.
But it's just another option.
no, thank you, that's interesting, good point, I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that just kind of haven't thought of that as an option.
I agree.
You know, it seems like there's, you know, we're looking at the bigger options and that might make, it's good to step back sometimes and be like, oh, yeah.
Well,
hey.
like I said, you go to a meeting you don't normally go to.
Right, yeah.
Also, what's helpful is just to read their charter, how it works.
Yeah,
You know, it's not, you know, I mean, the select board has a charter, you know, each
Sure.
meeting, but that's educational as well.
Yep.
So, but it's just something I thought was interesting. And they're very open to anybody, you know, coming to a meeting, asking questions, or just picking up the phone and call. They're very welcoming questions.
after all, buddy, out what was for the times.
Yeah, particularly,
You can't get it out of.
he knows it inside and out.
Anyway, thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Anybody else in the audience that has anything they would like to bring up for, public comment,
I'm going to-
please? Just, can you just give your address just for public
Louise
record?
Goldsmith, 326 Main Street.
Eric, anything further about the flashes? Circling back on that.
Yeah, the flashers, I didn't get all the details on it, but I was informed that they weren't legally obligated, but they were requested at the design phase. Again, there's, as of today, they're putting in 4, not 6 as it's set up for. But I didn't look into, I just got that quick answer, in the time that go back to the design phase.
Thank you.
Maybe they put money in and pay for the bypass paths that are required for ADA accessibility.
Yeah, I do believe that these are, en route, already purchased, but like I said, I gotta look into it.
Fantastic. Denise, yes, please, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to say something about the Housatonic Waterworks. I know that they're basically not gonna be able to help or do anything for anybody in the town. And I was wondering, as a suggestion, that the town, the select board, or whoever powers there are, negotiate a deal with a drilling company to barter a deal so that people can get a water well drilled in the town for a better negotiated price, or filtration systems for the families, for houses, full filtration systems. I've been looking into them. I've got a guy coming over on Monday. I've already spoken to a few people. Drilling a well is between 12 and 15,000 without equipment needed, water softeners, etc. Then you basically look at the water filtration systems Culligan offers one. It's $3,500, which basically filters the whole house. And it only needs to be changed, the filters, a couple of times. And you can also put reverse osmosis water in your faucet at your sink with this system for a couple of $100. But is there a way that maybe the town of Great Barrington can negotiate with vendors to get a good deal for the people of Housatonic who have Housatonic water? Because we know that Housatonic Waterworks is not going to come up with 30 million to fix the pipes over 20 years. So rather than everyone suffer with brown tainted water, we come up with a solution to help people afford a solution like a well or a home filtration system. Anyway, that was just my thought, and I'd appreciate it if somebody could say something to somebody. And I don't know. I think that would be an alternative plan based on the fact that Housatonic Water would have to go bankrupt and have the company turn over to whoever. It's just really dire. So anyway, that's my scary thought. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Denise. You do have 3 select board members on the line tonight, so I'm sure they've all heard it. And again, it is going to be great.
That's why I wanted to make it said. I wanted to say it because I wanted to make sure that they could think of alternative solutions, because we know we're all suffering with water. I can't believe the amount of brown water in my house. It just makes me sick. And I know I'm not the only one. I see it on the Facebook pages. But if we could barter a deal with one of the companies or come up with a plan where we all can get a really good rate on drilling a well or filtration system, that would really help people. Or even the town of Housatonic, Great Barrington pay for it. Anyway, never mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I was just wondering if you could remind the public that the select board, Eric, that the select board, it is on the select board agenda.
Yep.
On Monday, and as Denise pointed out, there's always a lot of conversation on Facebook, but I think it would be impressive to appear even virtually before the select board and sign on and listen to what's being said rather than information through Facebook. I hope people will attend that.
So, thank you, Michelle. The select board meeting is Monday, the 23rd at 6 o'clock, correct, Eric? Yes. And they will be discussing the waterworks again. Means anybody that's out there listening, pass it on to your neighbors. Anybody in the room, pass it on. Or again, it is a public meeting, so you will have an opportunity to at least speak on it at some point. When during the meeting, I don't know. All right, next meeting date. So I think that how long will it take you and Patrick to kind of collate everything and clean it up? And
Patrick, what do you think? You're traveling next week, yes?
oh yeah,
Yeah, only in the second half of the week now, though, so I have got Monday and Tuesday. I'm still here and able to focus on some of this. So I think probably by mid next week, Angela, we can probably have it wrapped up, right?
So do we want to go to 2 weeks to the 2nd? That gives you guys a couple of days to kind of get things hashed out and then get it back to everybody. It gives everybody a week or so to kind of put over.
The 2nd works for me.
Patrick, is the 2nd good for you? You still traveling?
No, I'll be back. Let me just look. I think I'm free. Yeah, that should be fine.
Daniel and Louise, again, just to remind you, I will send the recommendation out to the select board officially tonight. Even though Steve and Ed have heard it, I will send the recommendations up there. So you should be getting a letter in the mail probably in the next week or so. You'll just have to go to the town clerk to be sworn in to be the committee member, but just keep the second on your, calendar if you're able to attend.
So I try to get, just to invite Carrie Martini to invite her to next meeting.
I think it'd be a good idea. That way, if we do have that document finished, she can see it ahead of time, and maybe if there's any last minute changes that she thinks. So we'll go with the, second again at, 6:30. September 2nd. Wow.
Hey, Dan,
Yes, Steve.
your new members are not on the agenda for Monday's meeting. And
Okay.
It's too late to add it.
That's fine.
It'll unfortunately have to be the next meeting after that, so they'll have to be observers on your September 2nd meeting.
Thank you, Steve. I didn't realize the agenda had already been posted. I was hoping
Yeah,
to
it's
get.
been posted and you need 48 hours and
I
48
understand.
hours has passed.
Okay, I understand. Sorry. I'm sure they'll be here anyway. Okay, so seeing nothing else, well, citizen speak time, again, I know we've opened it up once before, but does anybody have anything else that they would like to say? Go ahead, Jim.
Why do some residences get the dirty water and others don't?
Jim, can you just give your name and address, please, for the public record?
Jim Stark, 1099 Main Street.
Thank you. Why do some people get the dirty water and some people don't? I don't think anybody in this room has an official answer for that, because we're probably not schooled in that answer. That'd probably be a question to ask a certified engineer, or one of the engineers, or if it's in one of the reports somewhere.
Thank you.
But Jim, just out of curiosity, have you had a chance to look at 2 different reports that have come out?
Well, there wasn't much in the second report. I did look at the first one.
Okay.
I asked the people in the second report if they had anything else that's beyond what was presented, but I didn't hear back.
Got it. Thank you. Anybody else for citizen speak? I know Eileen, a while back, you did have a question. Are you able to ask that question still? Is it still relevant? Was it answered?
Check, is it 25?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for monitoring that. Well, very difficult to understand you and who is the person who says, yes.
Yeah, Patrick answered her.
Yeah, Patrick answered it. Okay. All right. Being that there does not appear to be any more questions or comments from anybody, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. Eric? Aye. Patrick? I went out of order. Angela?
I,
And Bev? Aye. And I as well. All right, we're adjourned at 7:27? Sure. Thank you very much for everybody for coming.